This week, Siskel and Ebert review L.A. cop Nick Nolte fighting crime his own way in Mulholland Falls. An unknown writer gets her 15 minutes of fame in I Shot Andy Warhol. And Janine Garofalo thinks she can't compete with Uma Thurman in The Truth About Cats and Dogs.
Message. Your presence is required back in Chicago.
It's cold in Chicago, which is why I came out here. Is Mr. Flynn being charged with a crime?
What are you, his lawyer?
Nick Nolte is a cop with unsavory methods and a sordid connection to a murder under investigation in the thriller Mulholland Falls, one of 5 new films we'll be reviewing this week on Siskel and Ebert, along with a new comedy starring Uma Thurman, a docudrama about Andy Warhol, and also a 3D movie that's setting box office records wherever it plays. Something for everyone on the show. I'm Gene Siskel with Chicago Tribune.
And I'm Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times. Our first movie is Mulholland Falls, and it's a police melodrama that seems inspired by hard-boiled detective stories and movies like Chinatown and the whole look of film noir. It takes place in the early 1950s and is about a special 4-man squad of the Los Angeles Police Department based on a true squad called the Hat Squad, who cruise around town in a Buick convertible and enforce the law according to their own highly selective standards. The 4 men, who are sort of the reservoir dogs of the LAPD, are played by Nick Nolte, Michael Madsen, Chaz Palminteri, and Chris Penn.
You guys can't do this. This is America.
This isn't America, Jack. This is L.A.
The plot centers on an attractive young woman played by Jennifer Connelly, who is halfway between being a hooker and being an innocent bystander.
You say, Kenny, we have a little party.
No, I don't do that stuff, Uma.
You don't want to see this.
Yes, I do. Now, let's call the cop.
I am the cops, Kenny.
At one point, she was Nick Nolte's lover, but when he finds her dead body in the desert, it appears she was involved with powerful men who wanted to get rid of her. Just as the trail in Chinatown led to the precious commodity of water, so the trail in Mulholland Falls leads to the priceless commodity of the post-war years, nuclear power.
Put your hands in the air, you will be shot!
The plot owes a lot to Raymond Chandler, who used crime as a ticket to travel through all of Los Angeles' social strata. The performances by the 4 cops develop a nice, hard-boiled rhythm, and there's a tender subplot involving Nolte's love for his wife, played by Melanie Griffith. Mulholland Falls does an entertaining job of standing halfway between the stylish crime classics of the 40s and 50s and the ironic recycling of the pulp fiction generation.
Well, Roger, you're being really nice of this picture, and I can't support it because I saw this as much closer to Chinatown than you did, and it just doesn't match up. And I'm watching it all the way, and it's pretty much down the line, except for the family connections involved in Chinatown. Also, I thought that this picture, because the script was so familiar to me, that I felt that it was really just decor that I was watching. So the convertible and the hats and the clothing and the smoking, and I really didn't care. And the big revelation. You knew what was coming. I knew what was coming. There's no payoff, Roger.
It's not Chinatown. I didn't say it was Chinatown. It's not as good as Chinatown, but it is a good movie, and it's an entertaining movie. It is stylish to look at, and also the texture of the performances. For example, John Malkovich always brings something interesting to a role, and here is General Timms, who is dying of cancer and trying to run his radioactive...
I mean, I know, he's sitting on the porch, but it's behavior, Roger. In Chinatown...
There's nothing wrong with behavior, Gene. Movies are all behavior.
No. What I'm just simply saying is that there isn't a narrative drive here that I really felt because I knew where it was going.
There's the Chandler type of thing, where it's not a strong narrative drive. It's the detective goes through these various places, meets different people, goes to strange locations.
The more you're familiar with... Let me put it this way to the audience. The more you're familiar with
this kind of material, the more you enjoy seeing it done well.
No, I don't think this is done that well.